Touching her mind is not about charm, it's about connection, a level of connection that reaches beyond words, beyond surface attraction, into the space where true understanding lives. Every woman, like every human being, wants to be seen, not for her beauty or her achievements, but for the thoughts that live behind her eyes. To touch her mind, you have to quiet your own. You have to step out of the need to respond, to impress, or to win. You have to listen, not just with your ears, but with your entire presence. When you listen deeply, you tell her, without saying a word, that her ideas matter, her dreams are valid, and her voice deserves space. Most people hear to reply, but very few hear to understand, and understanding is where respect begins. Touching her mind means you start valuing intelligence over appearance, wisdom over noise, and curiosity over control. It's the art of recognizing that her thoughts are not a challenge to yours, but an invitation to grow with her. When a woman speaks, she's not always asking for solutions. Sometimes she's offering you the key to her inner world, if you're wise enough to recognize it. When she shares her fears, her hopes, or her plans, she's showing you her architecture. She's saying, "This is how I see the world." And when you respond with attention instead of ego, with openness instead of defense, you build a bridge that very few can cross. To touch a mind is to inspire it. It's to awaken in her the desire to think deeper, to dream higher, to challenge her own limits, not because you told her to, but because your presence reminds her of what she's capable of. It's not about agreement, it's about alignment. You don't have to share every opinion, but you must respect the thought behind it. The moment you make her feel small for thinking differently, you lose access to the very place you were trying to reach. Her mind is a garden of ideas, and the way you approach it determines whether it blooms or closes. Approach with judgment, and it shuts down. Approach with curiosity, and it unfolds. There's power in a conversation where she feels safe to think, safe to express, safe to disagree. That's where true intimacy begins, not in the physical, but in the mental. When she realizes that her words land softly in a place where they're valued, she begins to open more. Her laughter becomes easier, her tone softer, her energy warmer. The walls drop because she knows she's not being analyzed, she's being understood. Understanding a woman's mind is not about control, it's about connection. And connection, when it's real, never needs to be forced. Touching her heart is not an act of romance, it's an act of humanity. It's the space where sincerity replaces performance, where authenticity speaks louder than any compliment. Every woman carries within her a quiet longing to be felt, not just noticed. To touch her heart, you must first become still enough to sense what she feels beneath the words, beneath the smile, beneath the strength she shows the world. Her heart is not something to conquer, it's something to honor. And honoring it begins with empathy, the kind that doesn't rush to fix, doesn't rush to respond, but simply stays present long enough for her to breathe. When you truly care, it shows in the silence between your words. The energy of compassion cannot be faked. It's in how you listen when she talks about something small, how you remember what matters to her even when she didn't ask you to, how you notice when she's quiet not because she's calm, but because something inside her is breaking. Touching her heart means showing her that she can rest in your presence without performing strength, that she can be herself without the fear of being judged or dismissed. The greatest men are not the loudest. They are the ones who create a calm that says, "You're safe here." Compassion is not weakness, it's emotional intelligence in its purest form. When you learn to feel what another person feels without losing your own center, you become a mirror of strength. You don't just see her, you feel her world. And when you respond from that space of understanding, even your smallest gestures carry weight. It might be a word, a look, a hand placed gently on hers, a pause that says, "I understand." Those moments are invisible to the eye, but unforgettable to the soul. Every woman remembers how a man made her feel. She may forget your words, but she will never forget the energy behind them. To touch her heart is to step into her emotional rhythm, to sense the stories behind her laughter, to feel the courage it takes for her to keep showing up after pain. You begin to recognize that her heart is layered, strength wrapped around softness, softness wrapped around experience. She doesn't need someone to complete her. She needs someone to respect what she's already built. Your compassion tells her that she can put her guard down, that vulnerability is not weakness but trust in motion. When she feels that energy, that quiet, unwavering empathy, her heart begins to unfold like a flower that finally finds sunlight after a long storm. Touching her soul is not about words or gestures, it's about energy, the invisible current that passes between two people when authenticity meets purpose. Every woman can sense when a man's spirit is restless, when his intentions are shallow, when his confidence is built on approval instead of awareness. To touch her soul, you have to rise above attraction and enter the realm of truth, where who you are speaks louder than what you say. A soul connection is never created through trying to impress. It's born through alignment when your values, your vision, and your vibration are in harmony with the life you live. When your energy is rooted in purpose, you don't chase connection, you attract it. She feels it before you speak, she senses it before you act. Every woman wants to feel the presence of a man who stands for something, not a man who drifts with every emotion, but one who carries direction in his energy. Purpose is magnetic. When your soul knows where it's going, everything you touch begins to rise. You don't have to convince her of your worth. Your consistency does that for you. You don't have to talk about your dreams. She can see them in the way you move, the discipline you hold, the peace you protect. Touching her soul is about becoming someone whose light doesn't dim in chaos, someone whose presence restores balance instead of draining it. It's the kind of influence that doesn't need validation because it's fueled by conviction. Her soul responds to truth. Not perfection, not performance, truth. When you are authentic about your fears, your past, your growth, she feels the depth of your journey. Souls recognize honesty. They can sense when your kindness is real and when your words are rehearsed. When you live from your higher self, you inspire her to rise too. You stop being a source of confusion and become a reminder of clarity. You remind her that love isn't meant to confine, it's meant to expand. It's not about ownership, it's about evolution. The more connected you are to your own purpose, the safer she feels to be fully herself. To touch her soul is to remind her that she is not alone in her becoming. You hold space for her growth, her silence, her transformation. You see her not for what she gives, but for who she's becoming. And in that sacred recognition, she feels the presence of something eternal, the meeting of two energies that are not competing, but completing a shared mission called growth. It's a bond that doesn't fade when circumstances change, because it was never built on appearance or approval. It was built on the resonance of truth overcoming no. Is one of the greatest lessons life will ever teach you. Every no you face carries within it a message, a mirror, and a chance to grow beyond your current limits. Most people hear no and stop. They take it as rejection, as a closed door, as a final statement about their worth. But no is not the end, it's feedback. It's life's way of saying, not this way, not yet, grow stronger, grow wiser, come back refined. Every time you face rejection, the universe is testing your belief in yourself. It's easy to move forward when people say yes. It's easy to smile when doors open. But it's in the no moments that character is built. It's there that your patience, your persistence, and your purpose are proven. When you stop fearing rejection, you start mastering life. A no doesn't define your destiny, your response to it does. People who achieve greatness aren't those who never hear no. They're the ones who refuse to let it weaken their spirit. They interpret no as redirection, not rejection. When something doesn't go your way, instead of asking, why me, ask, what is this trying to teach me? That one question transforms the energy of defeat into the energy of discovery. It shifts you from victimhood to power. Every no is preparing you for a better yes, but you have to stay open long enough to see it. In relationships, in business, in dreams, no is the filter that separates the uncertain from the unstoppable. The ones who crumble at the first sign of resistance never reach their potential because they interpret pain as punishment instead of preparation. But when you understand that resistance is a form of refinement, you stop taking things personally. You stop seeing rejection as an insult and start seeing it as information. Maybe the timing isn't right. Maybe your approach needs adjustment. Maybe you needed that delay to discover something greater inside yourself. Every no pushes you toward mastery because it teaches you to detach your worth from outcomes. When someone tells you no, you have two choices: shrink or sharpen. You can internalize it, allow it to poison your self-belief, or you can use it as fuel to prove that you are more than the limits others place on you. True power begins when you no longer depend on external approval to validate your vision. No becomes neutral. It no longer hurts because you understand its purpose. It's not the universe denying you. It's the universe redirecting you toward alignment, toward strength, toward the version of yourself that can handle the yes that's meant for you. Negative feelings are not your enemy, they are messengers. They come to show you the places where healing is needed, the areas of your life where your energy has been trapped in resistance. Every emotion you feel carries a vibration, and that vibration shapes the quality of your experiences. When you hold on to anger, fear, or resentment, you are not punishing anyone else, you are simply lowering your own frequency. The truth is, you cannot attract peace while feeding chaos in your mind. You cannot walk in light while carrying the weight of bitterness in your heart. The first step in transforming negative energy is awareness. You must be honest enough to admit how you feel, not suppress it, not decorate it, but face it. Because what you resist will persist, and what you accept will begin to heal. Once you acknowledge your emotions, you regain the power to transform them. You are not the emotion, you are the observer behind it. That small shift in perspective changes everything. It allows you to choose your response instead of reacting automatically. When someone hurts you, you can choose forgiveness not because they deserve it, but because you deserve freedom. When life disappoints you, you can choose faith not because it's easy, but because it keeps your spirit alive. Every feeling, no matter how dark, can be transmuted into growth if you meet it with understanding instead of resistance. The emotion itself is neutral. It's the story you attach to it that gives it power over you. Saying yes to growth doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It means recognizing that even pain has a purpose. The broken moments teach you compassion, the rejections teach you strength, the disappointments teach you patience. Life is always happening for you, not to you. When you learn to see every experience as a form of preparation, you stop fighting what is and start aligning with what can be. That alignment is what opens the door to destiny. You begin to realize that peace is not the absence of problems. It's the mastery of emotion in the presence of them. Your destiny doesn't change when things go your way. It changes when you do. Every yes you say to gratitude, every yes you give to growth, every yes you whisper to self-belief pushes you closer to the life you're meant to live. The moment you take control of your emotional state, you take control of your reality. You become the architect of your vibration, the author of your energy, the designer of your destiny. Because everything you attract, everything you create, and everything you experience begins with the frequency you choose to carry within you.